Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Select Board meeting for Monday, April 12th, 2021. Time is 5:30. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and the governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitations on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Select Board will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and or parties with a right and a requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the AG's webpage. The town will persevere to use conference call capabilities regularly for other parties to listen in and participate accordingly. If not possible, we will post on the town's website an audio recording as soon as possible after the meeting. All meetings of the Select Board are recorded, and in attendance is myself, Doug Moglen, Joe Didi, Russ Fox, Carl Steinhardt, and Robin Solik. So let's see, where are we? Roll call attendance and board of members present for the meeting. We did that. Okay. Carl, why don't you lead us in the pledge tonight?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag
Flag
of
of the United States of America,
the flag
to the
which
republic.
stands one nation under God, indivisible for all, and liberty and justice for all.
I think he butchered that, folks.
Yeah, that was really quick. Wow.
I think he done messed up.
I might have, but you know something, it's always good to, see how people's powers of forgiveness are.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Okay. We need to acknowledge payables warrant 2125B dated 4/5/2021 in the amount of $87,221.04. I need a motion for the following minutes, please. Open session, April 5th, executive session, April 5th, and open session budget meeting, April 7th, 2021.
Joe Didi will make that motion.
Russ Fox will second that motion.
Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Great. 5:35, meeting discussion items. First is we need a motion to accept a $50 donation to the Southwick Police Department.
Joe Didi will make that motion.
Russ Fox will second that motion.
Mr. Fox or Mr. Steiner, who's that from?
I don't have it in front of me. Let's see.
It is from,
Core. Is right? How do you spell it, Robbie? Was it?
I have Myrna Butler.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we wanted to thank her. And with that, we'll take a roll call vote. Doug Moglen, aye.
Joe Didi, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Okay. And I completely skipped over public comments. So if anyone has any public comments that they'd like to address to the select board, speak now. Okay. New business. First item, status of meeting with CPC for reconsideration of town hall roof design application.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Fox.
I believe that everyone has a copy of the email from Chairman Pratt to me concerning the town's application to the CPC. Has everybody had an opportunity to review it?
I have.
I read it, yeah.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I know we're short on time and you have another appointment, but normally I do not respond to this type of communication, but I feel, in my opinion, it's very important to respond to this because, again, in my opinion, I feel a law of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has been broken, and this affects all the taxpayers of the town of Southwick. And I'd like to share a few facts. As you know, the board last week told me to reach out to Chairman Pratt to ask them to reconsider our application based on new information that we had received. We got legal opinions to our application. And the second meeting of the CPC, a decision was based on an opinion from their association. I did reach out to Mr. Pratt, and the conversation didn't go very well. First, he told me that there was no need to have another meeting. They had their opinion. And I told Mr. Pratt I respected his opinion, but all we were asking for was to meet with the full board. He then told me it'd be illegal to have the meeting. And I told him I didn't think that was the case, since we had just a couple of years ago had to ask the board to revote an application they had denied, and they had no problem with it at that time. Then there was the question of when can you have the meeting? And I said we needed it early this week because of the budget and because of the town meeting. He told me at that time he was going to be out of town this week. So I asked him for the name of the vice chairman. I would ask the vice chairman to hold the meeting. At that point, he told me that he would work on setting up the meeting this week. Without getting into details, some of the things that he mentioned in his email is the 2 meetings. Well, at the first meeting, if you did not attend, they approved the police department and then made a motion to have us get bids on the town hall roof because they weren't sure if the newer sections could be covered. So we went out and got those 2 bids as we were asked. When we attended the second meeting, that is when the first time we heard about this opinion. Even though the Historical Commission had voted in favor of this and had a different opinion. I then asked Chairman Pratt if there was a difference of opinion, who would make the legal ruling? He stated, I'm not sure. Then he stated he thought the Department of Revenue would make that statement. It was based on that we went back to the CAO, who did additional research, reached out to Bond Counsel for a legal opinion, reached out to town attorneys for legal opinions, and did additional research as did the Historical Commission. And I guess what I'm concerned about is that all we were asking for was another meeting. The board had the right to vote yes or no, but we were denied that opportunity. And then in Mr. Pratt's email, he talks about this threat. The threat was when he told me the 3 excuses why they couldn't have the meeting, is I told them that this will probably end up on the front page of a newspaper because we do our discussions in open meeting and the press normally attends. So this whole thing has gotten blown way out of proportion. And what's the end result? The end result is, in my opinion, there's now been a violation of laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. This is the most asinine thing I've ever seen in all my years in involvement with the town of Southwick. And I apologize, Mr. Chairman, that I had to bring this forward in an open public meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Is there any course of action that we should contemplate taking at this point, or was this, I'm not quite sure where we go from here, right? And as an aside, I mean, with this conversation, like any other, this board takes the open meeting law very seriously, right? As far as how we conduct ourselves. So you and I can't really speak outside of a selectmen's meeting about business in front of the select board because 2 of us is technically a violation of the open meeting law on a 3-member board. So you and I obviously can't discuss this type of thing outside of a public meeting. So I'm not quite sure what, now that we're discussing it in open session, I'm not sure what, if any, action we can take at this point, given the, other than, as far as the Mass General Law issue, but the, as far as the issue that was in front of the CPC regarding these projects. I mean, I found it, I did attend the meeting and observe the meeting, and it was certainly was an interesting meeting. I mean, especially coming from the night before where historical had voted to support the project. And then the historical commission rep then voted against, I believe, against the project the next night, which seemed counterintuitive when, I understand, having been on that board as the planning board designee, and sometimes a project was proposed that night and voted on that night. I didn't have a chance to go back in an open meeting to my board that had appointed me to get an opinion to see how they wanted to vote on a particular project. That was kind of the nature of the CPC at the time, where they would often vote on a project that the night it was proposed. But in this one, they actually had an opportunity. It's a historical, under the historical purview, the historical commission had voted in favor of the project, and then the entire committee, which that's fine that the committee can vote it down, but the historical appointee to that board voted against the vote of that commission the night before. Found it a little interesting, but I'm not sure where to go from here with this. So I guess I'm kind of opening the floor if there's any, to the board, if there's any other action we should be taking at this point with this, or we just take that into the budget. And this project has to move forward. So it's going to have, obviously ramifications around the budget. And if we take it forward in that direction, or if there's any other action you're looking for us to take at this point.
Chairman, I'm not looking for the board to take any other additional action. I was asked by this board to kind of spearhead this project. I'm just reporting back to the board what action has been taken by the Community Preservation Committee. Obviously, Mr. Chairman, we have no choice but to go forward to address this issue, to preserve this historical building. The town of Southwick and the taxpayers have spent millions of dollars. They made a decision to preserve this historical building. Community preservation funds have been used numerous times on this building. So even though I have strong feelings about this, we have no choice but to go forward to get that $85,000 to begin the project to save this building.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I appreciate you taking the lead on this, and I appreciate your passion on the issue. It's been, obviously very frustrating, the way it progressed. I mean, that board asked for certain things, which was done to prepare an updated application for the project, for them to then summarily dismiss it when, I mean, with the legal opinions and everything else, I thought it was clear that it was the historical nature of the building, and the act that's being proposed was certainly within the purview of the CPC, but okay. Is there any other new business tonight? Any other, Mr. Fox?
No, sir.
Mr. Didi?
No. Will this affect us? Should we go forward and try to get funding to do some of that work down the road with CPC funds, or wouldn't have qualified anyways? We just thought the engineering was where we should be at when it comes to, or it doesn't matter because it's CPC anyway, so who knows at this point?
I think that's the
B
is
answer.
the right answer, right? I mean, obviously, when you get the bigger project and you go back at it, you make another application you approach the historical folks again, you
Right.
have your legal opinion and you bring it. And then you see what that board looks like at the time, right?
Yeah.
And
No, understood.
take it from there. I think that's my opinion. But
Yeah, we used to go back to that. Well, I mean, we got turned down. They don't want to hear it. I get it, but you're right. 6, 7 months from now, when engineering done and a better scope of service in front of us, I would hope they would listen a little bit and see if we could get somewhere with them. Hopefully. That's all I got.
Mr. Steinhardt,
Yes, sir.
any new business for the board this evening?
No, my items are old business.
Okay, on to old business. Mr. Steinhardt.
Okay, I just want to let you know, as you know, last week I participated along with the town of Agawam, Southwick, Tolland, Granville, and Russell in the application of finalists for the Weston Hampden Veterans District Director. Director Richard Gerard is retiring. So we held open public interviews last week in Agawam, and we have appointed Christopher Lansky as the new individual who will work out the terms with the mayor under their process over there. And he's coming to us with 22 years as a Marine Corps person and 8 years as a police officer. And he will be helping to administer the veterans benefits under Chapter 115. So we look forward to his process with Richard Gerard and having a smooth transition. And at some future date, he will attend a select board meeting to meet you all as a department head.
Great.
Next item is the treasurer collector clerk will be attending the retirement board meeting in the next couple of weeks related to the discussion and election of new board members. As you know, because of the issues that have happened over at the retirement board, there's been a call for action and a call for reform and changes. So we're anticipating the chairman and treasurer to be leaving soon. He has announced it, but he didn't set a date.
Of course not.
And the treasurer collector of Agawam, who is on there as a board member, would be leaving that board, but staying with Agawam. So that's going to be going on in the next couple of weeks. And then lastly, today I had a Green Energy Committee meeting. This is the issue that you had tasked Mr. Fox and I to participate in. Mark Beglane's determination letters being finalized on the zoning aspects on the by right uses. The Regional Planning Agency, who is under contract with us, is working on the fleet vehicle policy for the selectmen to review and adopt. Let's see, the Massachusetts Department of Energy Resources will be at the town meeting on the 18th of May to discuss the adoption of the stretch code. And then also the school district is also partnering with us along with the energy use studies for their buildings also. So both our buildings and the school buildings are all being studied again for their energy consumption issues. And then we can start identifying areas in the future where additional measures can be made to do energy savings, which is a requirement of the Green Energy Program. And as you know, we had quite a presentation last week by that state agency, as well as the interested town boards and committees that have a role in this matter. So that was the items that I had for old business, Mr. Chairman.
Very good. Mr. Didi,
Nothing.
no old business either. Mr. Fox,
No, sir.
okay. The only old business I had is that Carol and I will be having a meeting this week with town council and Westfield solicitor and the mayor regarding the framework for the IMA for regional dispatch. There's a lot to discuss as to what can and can't be done in an IMA and what all that might look like. And we got to move that ball forward rather quickly at this point. So hopefully we'll have a productive meeting. That may even be tomorrow. I haven't looked past my calendar. I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. That's really all I had. Did we have anything else under old business, Carl, that we need to go over tonight?
No, Tammy reopening, Tammy's monitoring that. She's going to let us know. I believe in terms of the sergeant recruitment process, the chief and the lieutenant will be bringing a package, but he has been waiting for a disposition by the select board and the finance committee on the administrative sergeant position, because that will then tell him whether he's going to be posting for one, sergeant to backfill the promotion of the incoming lieutenant, or if he's going to be also posting for a second one related to a administrative sergeant.
And we have that budget meeting tomorrow,
That is
right?
correct.
So hopefully
sir.
we'll have some clarity around that tomorrow as well.
I would anticipate that to be the case.
Okay. Anything else before the select board before we head into executive session? Okay. I will need a motion to go into executive session pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, 2 and 3, Chapter 214, Section 1B, and CMR 20.031B. Labor Council and Fire Command staff regarding collective bargaining, police union mediation, fire, IAFF, and pending litigation. To move to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel and not reconvene in open session. Move to go into executive session to conduct collective bargaining sessions with non-union personnel and not reconvene in open session. Move to go into executive session to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel and not reconvene in open session. Move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, and the chair declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the body and not reconvene in open session, and move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, and that the chair declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the body and not reconvene in open session.
Joe
A
DDI.
Whoa, 1 second. A person shall have a right against unreasonable, substantial, or serious interference with their privacy. Superior Court shall have jurisdiction in equity to enforce such right and connection therewith to award damages. Joe, you still okay with that motion? Uh-oh, we might have lost Joe. Doug Mogul, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
Close enough. Robin, I
Roll
think
call
we're
vote.
all set.
Okay,
Roll
good night,
call vote.
gentlemen.
Didn't we just do that?
No, you were making a motion.
Oh, okay. Doug Mogul, aye.
Russ Fox, aye.
I think you
Joe's
lost.
frozen out. That's fine. It'll
Joe's
just be two
frozen.
motions.
Close
Yep.
enough. Okay, Robin, thank you very much.
Good night.